So hi there, I would like to introduce Inara, who is joining us today from Lumon Currency Brokers. So hi, how are you today?
Hi, Tracy, good. How are you? Thank you for having me here at this amazing villa.
Isn't it absolutely stunning?
It is.
Gorgeous location, so we just need to build our businesses and then this is going to be ours, isn't it?
Exactly, that's what we're working on it.
We can have some great parties. So tell us a little bit more about Lumon. Who are they?
Well, Lumon are currency brokers with 24 years trading experience, and we help people to move their funds internationally, exchanging it from one currency into another, and offer them better exchange rate and also avoid big bank fees and commissions, and this way they make more for their money.
Perfect. So that's actually quite a good point, because a lot of clients do feel very comfortable. They've got a long established relationship with the bank, with their personal banker now, because I know that a lot of banks do have somebody that personalises and looks after your accounts.
Yes.
So what is the difference then? Because, you know, is there more security with going through a bank rather than through a broker?
Well, I would say banks would move your money abroad, but they would charge you for that.
Okay.
They would exchange your money from one currency into another. They would charge you for that. And currency brokers are more specialized in currency markets. Obviously, we move funds as well through the same banks, but as a currency broker, we can get a better exchange rate for a client. And, you know, when you're buying a big villa in Marbella, with
something like the one we're in today.
Something like this one, exchange rate matters. So when you get a better exchange rate, you can make more money and make more euros and afford this kind of place.
Absolutely.
And in terms of security, I would say a properly licensed currency broker has all the security and safeguarding in place, and then it is secure and safe to move money through a currency broker.
We did have a little interesting conversation earlier with David, the lawyer, and we were talking about currency. And you actually highlighted quite an important point, and that was something that was kind of music to David's ears about the security and the licensing. So Lumon.
We are an electronic money institution. We are regulated by Financial Conduct Authority as well as Central Bank of Ireland. And yes, it is important that we move clients' funds through a segregated and safeguarded client accounts. That just gives more safety and security and protection for the client's money. So just like David mentioned, the most important thing is that safety and protection, and we provide that to our clients. So if, God forbid, anything happens to the company, the client's money is safe and protected, and they will have access to it as soon as possible.
That's really reassuring, because I think it can be a bit disconcerting that you see a very large volume of money, for example, 4.5 million for this villa, leaving your account, and then you're waiting for it to arrive either directly to the developer, directly to an owner, yes, or into the sort of lawyer's client's account. And it's that in-between stage, isn't it, that I think makes clients a little nervous.
It does make them nervous, but obviously this is when we come into the picture. We're specialized actually in property related currency transfer, so we know the whole sale process of property purchase from start to finish. So we do all the compliance for the clients, we provide all the necessary paperwork, the full tracking of the funds arriving into our client account and leaving the client account as well, and going into developer, the lawyer, the estate agent, or the client's personal account here in Spain. And this way everything is all hassle-free, effortless, and as fast as possible.
That sounds really good. So obviously in Spain, one of the key points and one of the key stages for our clients is that they do need to complete anti-money laundering and KYC. And we always have to prove the source of the funds. How do Lumon sort of work with that?
Well, we have a compliance department obviously for that, and we always ask the funds have to be sent from the client's account in their name. It can't come from an aunt or friend or somebody else. And also obviously we always request the source of wealth, bank statements, depending obviously on the amount, but usually the source of wealth document, whether they have inherited this money, whether they've sold a property maybe in the country of origin and they're moving the funds, whatever the proceeds are coming from. So we always ask for that kind of documentation, just like any bank would.
So what could a client expect to be the process? So they want to use Lumon, for example, they're looking to use the currency broker. What would they expect then to be the next step?
The next step, basically, our onboarding specialist will give them a call, just introduce themselves and then just tell them a little bit about our services and get information on what kind of requirements they have, whether they need to buy euros, sell euros, or what kind of currencies they need, if they have any timeline for the transfer, for example, with people that are buying new builds, the stage payments, if it's like a cash buyer. And obviously we will ask for their ID, confirm their date of birth, address, and do our virtual electronic identity checks. And after that, obviously they will get an email with terms and conditions. Once it's all done, they're ready to go. It's like less than, I would say, 10 minutes over the phone.
So simple, so
It's
straightforward.
very simple. They can do it all online as well, but I always say it's like the personal touch. Speaking to someone is always better.
It's an extra layer, isn't it?
It's
of
an extra
reassurance.
layer, and just in 10 minutes they can have an account open with Lumon, and then after that they're provided with the bank details where they need to send the funds and speak to a currency specialist to exchange the money and tell us where do we need to send the funds.
Okay.
We may ask them also sometimes if it's a buyer why, for example, somebody is sending 1 million to Spain, so like a reservation contract, like what's the reason for transfer? That question also can be asked, which is a common compliance question, so they may expect
As long
it.
as you have nothing to hide, then
As long as you
there's
have
no
nothing to
reason why you
hide.
shouldn't be able to answer that.
Exactly.
So does the story then end with the purchase of the property, or would Lumon be able to help with sort of anything in the future?
Of course, if they need to transfer pension, living funds, need to make payments, any kind of payment, we can help them further, whether they need to renew the furniture, though we have very nice furniture here. If
This won't be renewed for a while.
If they need to buy a car to drive, for example, around Marbella, yes, we can help with that as well.
I think as well, one thing that does come up a lot for clients is that they have certain bills that they need to pay. And then again, it would be transferring in for their IBI, for their community fees,
course.
for sort of electricity bills and things like that.
Yes.
So Lumon can help with that.
We can help with that as well.
Absolutely perfect.
Yes.
So one question that I'm sure our clients are going to ask is, how do Lumon guarantee the safety of their money?
Well, the safety of our clients' money is our main priority, I would say, and that's why we use a specific process called safeguarding. When a client opens an account with us, it's not a bank account, it's an electronic money account, and when they send money into our account, into our bank account, we credit their electronic money account with e-money, which means further they exchange the money, they use that e-money for currency conversions, for payment instructions. Now, as an e-money institution, we're not covered by deposit guarantee scheme or any kind of this, let's say, guarantee schemes. But what we do, when client sends us money, we either keep the same amount of money in separate segregated bank account with High Street Bank, or we cover that with an insurance policy, which gives them a similar protection.
Perfect. So there's a reassurance through the whole thing then for them. Can you book a currency rate in advance? Is that something that you would recommend?
We actually, we speak to clients, we listen to them, we obviously try to see what kind of actually currency requirements they have, and then we try to tailor the services to their needs. If they need to book the rate today, they can book and pay it later. They can book a forward contract. If they need to exchange the money right now, they can book a spot contract. If they want to get market alerts or book a limit order or stop loss, it's basically for clients to set up different limits of I won't go lower than this, or I want a rate to hit this rate and then please exchange my money automatically. We can offer those services to our clients, and it just depends on their requirements.
Of course. So typically, what type of client would you normally deal with?
Most of our clients are people here specifically in Costa del Sol are people that buy or sell properties. Big investors that need to send money to, again, buy a property, buy a plot, buy a nice villa, and obviously they need to exchange it from another currency into euros. Or it's somebody who is selling a property in Spain and they need to repatriate the funds back to their country of origin and need to exchange the money into the currency of their country. We also have people that send pension transfers, but mostly, obviously, it's property-related currency transactions.
That's quite interesting, actually, because obviously for us, that's what we deal with. So it's interesting to hear that for you guys as well, that seems to be where the majority of the transfers take place.
We depend here a lot on the real estate market.
To be fair, I think a lot of things actually do rely on real estate. So there's, you know, again, it's kind of sort of layers, isn't it? That everybody's very sort of involved with everybody else. But I do want to make things sort of very clear as well, is that when an agent recommends a currency company, that you are working for the client, aren't you? You're not working for the agency.
No, we are working for the client, and we're trying to make sure the client saves as much as possible, so they're willing to accept an offer, to make an offer. Whether it's a vendor who is selling a property, we need to make sure that we secure the rate at a point where they can accept the offer made. The same thing with the buyers. So our goal is to give that personalized service to our clients, whether they're buyers or vendors, or just need to transfer pension, and every bit, every saving means a lot.
Of course it does. It makes a difference. It could contribute towards furniture or your flights, or, you know, there's a lot of, or your lawyer's bills or something. There's always something that money can be.
There's always something. And also I would say we try to also help the estate agents as well, because if we don't manage to get that rate for the client to be able to make an offer, then there won't be a deal.
We want that as well. We want our clients to get the best rate possible, because then, you know, it's easier for them, isn't it? And it makes the whole process just that little bit more.
We just want to complement that process and add value, and that's the main goal.
So at what stage would you say it's important for a client to contact a currency broker?
As soon as I would say they start looking for property, because they need to know their buying power.
Yeah.
I have dollars, I have sterling pounds. What will it buy me today in euros? I need to know. And once I have that, then I can start looking.
But you will always get the last minute, and
of course.
We are very responsible for that. We do it a lot where, you know, a client comes out and they're very early stage, and then we find the perfect property for them, and then it's all action stations, and then, you know, sort of straight over to a currency broker. But you guys can move really quite quickly though with the client.
Really quickly. I would say from the point the exchange is booked within 24, 48 hours, the money is in the destination account. So, and I always say it's important to let us know, I need to have the funds in a developer's account or lawyer's account a certain day. So we also work from that and make sure that there is no delay, because, you know, slight delay may cause a problem at the notary, and then it goes and goes and goes because everything like a domino.
Or the property's not reserved, which is our greatest fear for our clients, because we want them to be protected. They've fallen in love, they want to go ahead, or it's an investment. We don't want it to be sold or put back onto the market without their knowledge, because the money has not arrived. So you will also help out with that as well, because even though the money's, you know, going to maybe take a little period of time to arrive, you can actually say that the money has been transferred.
Exactly. We can send the payment confirmation that the payment is on its way, and which can be provided to the developer, to the vendor, and they will know that the money is on its way and they reserve the property.
And then we can marry that up with the reservation form, and then that's the security for the client with the deal, isn't it? Perfect.
And also with the forward contracts, just to give you an example, we recently had a client who saved £15,000
Wow.
on a forward contract because of the market movement. So sometimes that's a really good option.
15,000 is a lot of money.
It's a lot
You know,
of money.
that's a nice contribution
But, you know, pound is stronger now. That's why when you have a currency specialist, a dedicated currency specialist who is guiding you, who is keeping you informed, you can save quite a lot.
So which technological innovations would you say make a difference towards currency and the exchange sort of system?
I would say that it's important to have an online portal where clients can log in from their smartphones or any other device and watch the rate, make payments, add beneficiaries. It is important for a currency broker to have it, as well as a real-time transaction monitoring, which is important as well. Because we know what our clients do, and if there is any unusual activity, that just brings an alert and we call the client and ask. So that's also an extra layer of security, that if anything happens online on any platform, we let the client.
So this is happening in real time. So this is a real-time transaction. So something doesn't look right, you can alert the client immediately.
If you're someone who is transferring a pension every month and then suddenly you want to make a payment to some unknown country or country you don't send money to with for a big amount, that just would raise an alert.
How do Lumon, as a business and as a company, stay ahead of their competitors and make things easier for their client?
We pride ourselves on our personal service. That's the most important thing. We're not just like an online-based currency broker. We have offices in Spain where clients can walk in and talk to us. We accompany clients to notaries if necessary. So we try to give a tailored, personalized service to our clients, and that's what sets us apart from other currency brokers, I would say.
I think you've touched on quite an important subject, that people are often coming here. It might be the first time they've been, they may have been on holiday, they may have even owned previously.
Yes.
Then they are now looking to purchase or they're looking to sell. To have everybody involved in the transaction that personalizes it to them and tailor makes a service rather than cookie cutter and everybody's,
Yes.
you've got to fit, a round peg into a square hole kind of thing.
Yes.
I think when, as a business, you look at somebody as an individual and not just a number, not just as, this is going to earn us money, I think that actually sets many companies apart. The honesty, the transparency, and the personalization.
We try to do that, and so far the clients have been quite happy, and we, if necessary to handhold them, we're here to do it. We have a big team in Spain that will go meet the clients if necessary in person, again, take them to notary and help them as much as possible.
So where do you see Lumon going next? What's the next steps?
Well, we're growing in Spain. Obviously, we have now 3 offices in Costa Blanca, Murcia. We have an office in Costa del Sol. I think we're just going to grow more in whole Spain. The team is growing, and as the market is growing, there are more people every day that need to transfer funds internationally. Lots of people buying villas in Marbella specifically. So just grows, I would say.
Well, thank you so much. I think
you.
it's really reassuring for our clients to have a well-established company that's looking after them financially and potentially saving them up to 15,000 on a bank rate.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you.